Hey, this is Jack Downs with a brief video about finding images to use with your stories in APN or any other use really that's non-commercial. First, let me tell you before I do this that the best thing you can do is go take a picture, go take your own images, or consider doing a video or do a GIF. And hopefully it's a kind of topic where you can do that. But sometimes there are topics for which no photo is obvious or apparent. You may find out there are promotional photos, like photos that are to promote a movie, for instance. Those often say free to use, or you can assume they are if they're there to promote a movie, unless they literally say copyright on them, copyright protected. But in general, we're talking about as more general images. Let's say, for instance, you're going to do a story about cats. So what could you do if you're going to look for an image? Well, if you just search for cats and type this in, you can get cat videos, the movie Cats, so on and so forth, right? But of course, you want to look for images. So I clicked on images there, and now I find images. Can I just go and use any of these images? No, I cannot. These, some of these, many of these, most of these are copyright protected. So you can't use these images necessarily. How do you find out if you can use an image? Go to Tools and choose Usage Rights, and then choose Creative Commons Licenses. Oh, can I use all these images? Not necessarily. Let's see, you're going to find an image that you like. Let's say I want to use that cute image. Okay, I could click on it. Before I go to actually get to the image, do a right-click Save Image As, which would save me the image, I should look, whoops, sorry. I didn't mean to click an image. I should look right here to the license details. License details. It tells me for this image, you are free to share, copy, redistribute, and so on, and adapt or change, but we're not usually going to do that, adapt or change. And it tells me that I have to give appropriate credit. Okay, I have to credit that image, where it came from, or if it's listed where on the web page where it is, if it's lists the creator of it. So I have to credit it. Otherwise, I can use it. This is a very common generic Creative Commons license. There are other ones. If you run into any that ask you for money, no, you may not use it. And this is just a donation thing over here. You can ignore that. Now we'll go to a different one. How about one from Flickr? That was from Wikipedia or something, right? Again, license details. It's actually the same license details. So you can just go ahead and use it, but you should credit it. On and on. As you looked over many of these, you find maybe some other license details, but at least these are generally okay for non-commercial use. After you look at the license details and confirm, all you have to do is give attribution. Now, on the other hand, you might just go and Google something like free to use non-commercial cat images, and that would get you a bunch of pages. And they look similar to this, but you still have to confirm on each one that it really was, because you can't depend on the Google search for that kind of Google search for being 100%. Someplace along the line, you may come across some sites that specialize in these images particularly. So, for instance, one of the big ones these days is Pixels, and it's got horses, kittens, dogs, other animals, and probably lots of other things too, right? And these, if you go to use one, it's going to ask you, if you go to do a free download, it's going to ask you to use this, copy this photo by and use it. All right, and it's ask you to say thanks and potentially donate, but perhaps you could just say thanks on Twitter or Instagram. So there might be some provisions like that give you the credit that you have to use and ask you to say thanks or ask you to donate, in which case that's up to you, but donation would not be necessary. But whatever you do, don't just do a simple Google image search and then just grab any photo and go ahead and save it and use it. No, that is not allowed. Okay? And if you have any problems or questions, please ask your editors for help in finding images. Or again, hey, why not take your own pictures of cats or something in particular?